Nowadays, it's easy to access all sorts of information with a couple of swipes. From getting informed about the latest neuroscientific research, over learning how to deconstruct a lawnmower, to hour-long cat video compilations. Facts are so easily accessible that we don't have to know the exact foundation date of the Czech Republic by heart anymore. Instead, it is a much more valuable skill to know how to sift through heaps of information, select the appropriate bits, and use them to our advantage. A greater power has emerged in coming up with new ideas, connecting and combining information and applying them in the real world. Sawyer calls innovation the holy grail of today's modern cooperation. And that is true. If you want to be employable and successful in today's society, you need to bring something else to the table than following orders and doing what the previous person has done. In order to use scientific understanding of creativity to enhance our own creativity, we need to understand the truths and shortcomings of the Western cultural model. Do not blindly adopt those beliefs. What can we learn from the Western cultural model to aid our own creativity? Lesson 1. Being creative is not tied to a moment of insight, but it requires hard work, small insights along the way, collaboration and expertise. Sparks of insights always follow long periods of hard work and are tied to an alternation between intense focus as well as unguided unconscious incubation. Lesson 2. Ideas emerge from a combination of prior experience, learning and knowledge that has been mastered over years and years of training. Lesson 3. School is a key to creativity and not the downfall. School builds the knowledge that is required for creativity. However, we need to be aware that in our current education system, our mindset towards risk and error have changed over time. We are told that mistakes are bad and we define us according to the things we are not instead of the things we are. In order to be creative, you need to be immersed in convention to build knowledge and expertise, but you also need an environment that facilitates and encourages exploration. Creativity requires us to be active learners and to understand the material on a deep level in order to connect and transfer ideas. Memorization is not enough. Hence, you first need to know the rules before you can tweak, transfer, or break them. Lesson 4. Strive to be an expert. Most creative contributions come from experts and not from newcomers. However, it is also important not to become too focused on one area and also keep an open mind to learn things from other domains. Lesson 5. Alternate between spending time alone and with others. Solidarity can help internalize learned material and make new connections, but ultimately, creativity is a collaborative process. Lesson 6. Knowing the field you are working in. Often, small modifications and combinations can create something new and valuable. Creativity is not all about radical changes. Even though you might experience some initial resistance, you need to be the advocate of your own ideas. Confidence and strong will is key. Lesson 7. The apple can fall far from the tree. Creativity is not determined by our genes. There's not one creative personality, but various traits and abilities that are associated with creative individuals, such as task motivation, domain-relevant skills, and creativity-relevant processes. Of course, certain personality characteristics make it easier to be successful in the creative world, such as persistence, openness, intrinsic motivation, and discipline. But ultimately, creativity is much more determined by our choices, work habits, and environment than by our predetermined personality. By learning how to select, combine, and connect ideas, we have a much higher chance of developing our creativity than by hoping for a good set of genes. Lesson 8. We use our entire brain to be creative, and not just our right side. Lesson 9. There's no evidence that creativity and mental illness are connected. Hence, striving for good work-life balance and physical and mental health is advantageous to our creativity. Lesson 10. In our Western, individualist culture, creativity can be self-fulfilling and enhance satisfaction and well-being. So even if you are in a field in which creativity is not the norm, trying to solve problems in a creative way can make you understand the material better and process it on a deeper level. So now that we know the research behind the Western cultural model and have an idea what we need to attain in order to be creative, how can we use those insights to our advantage? It seems as though hard work together with intrinsic motivation to solve problems in a creative way are the most important determinants. Hard work and self-discipline is required in the creative process from the beginning to end. Despite popular beliefs, self-discipline can be trained. It requires practice and repetition in our day-to-day life. By creating a good routine, removing temptations, and setting realistic goals, it is possible to increase self-discipline bit by bit. However, it is important to not only focus on our behavior, but also on our perceptions, such as beliefs, values, hopes, fears, wants, and aspirations. One important perception is self-concept, or how we see ourselves. People that are persistent and motivated over long periods of time, usually see themselves in a positive way with regard to the task. If you believe from the beginning that something is unattainable or that you don't have the skills to match the challenge, you will be less likely to attempt it. Conversely, it is important that we internalize the beliefs in ourselves as creative individuals. And then we need to choose a realistic goal that matches our skill level, but also challenges us in a good way. So, what can we learn from the Western culture model? Well, you are not born to be creative. You can enhance creativity through hard work and dedication, but it requires continuous long-term effort, intrinsic motivation, and good work habits.